Good morning, because it's early Sunday morning. We're Toronto until I'm Steve here with Theo and Tony. We're here before the Jays game because it's Greek Easter, and Theo's got some shit to do.
We don't fuck around on Greek Easter. I didn't want to take a chance and not be able to do this after.
Yeah, Theo's gonna be passed out from just smashing like a copious amount of like lamb and I don't know what else. What else do you eat for Greek Easter? Because I was about to say spanakopita, but I just use that for everything.
Yeah,
Greek.
it's a bit everything. It's a lot of lamb, a lot of everything. Just the generic Greek shit. I don't even know if this is going to be that big this year. Usually it's really big, but ever since COVID, we haven't had a big one. So
that's true, actually.
We'll see, but
yeah. So we're doing it first thing in the morning instead of doing like the Jays post game like we normally do. As always, you can go find our Twitter at Toronto on Tilt. You can find us streaming live on Twitch right now. Just look for Toronto on Tilt. Our YouTube, where we're live right now as well, and where the video will live, Toronto on Tilt. I can hear myself in the background. Does someone have the YouTube on?
I wanted to make sure we were live.
Nice. And of course, you can find the audio of this podcast anywhere that you listen to podcasts. Also, the video's on Spotify now because Spotify let us do videos because we're a big deal. That's just the way it is. But yeah, you can find us anywhere that you listen to Spotify, anywhere that you listen to podcasts. So Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Breaker, Bleaker, all of the things. Like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends. Blue Jays can't be stopped. They cannot be stopped. And while Trevor Richards gives me a heart attack, that bullpen is very, very good. Where do you boys want to start? Because it's been a hell of a road trip so far. The last game goes today, but they've been kicking some ass. I don't know. Do you want to start with the Jays or do you want to make fun of Yankees fans before we get on to the
I want
Jays?
to start with the umpires because we shit all over the umps last week. I think we've had some good umpires this week. Angel Hernandez, best in the league.
Dude, Angel Hernandez, did you see the game score? Theo sends us the game scores for these things. What's that Twitter account that has that?
Umpire scorecards or something?
Yeah, so after seeing some of the worst scorecards we've ever seen, like that Sunday game. Was it the Sunday game against Oakland or was the no? I think it was the Sunday game against Oakland.
No, the Saturday one.
The Saturday game, yeah, the one that I was at.
Game.
Yeah. Oh god. So after some of the worst umpiring performances we've ever seen, we saw a bunch of really good ones, like all 96 plus guys knowing where the strike zone is, which is nice. Yeah. So like the umpiring came around, team started to come around. The offense hasn't really taken off yet, but there's still a bunch of injuries. The bullpen's been fucking nails.
Yeah. And also, the offense is down everywhere.
Yeah.
All the offense is down across the league. So when you think about it that way, it's not. Especially
we're still a top 10 offense, apparently. I think I read we were still top 10, and this shit league we have was like nothing, no one doing anything. But what this told me, like, because the offense is down, even though it's relative to the rest of the league, it's still okay. Yeah. But last year, if we had this same like offense, I think it'd be like 7-8 because of every game we've won feels like a game we would have lost in April of last season.
Well, it's the one-run games. I think it was their fifth one-run win yesterday. I saw it on Sportsnet stats this morning. Or on Sportsnet, they had the tweet on the TV that last year it took until June something for them to win their fifth one-run game. And that, when we look at last year and missing the playoffs by one game and how many games that they lost, they were really...
Yes, that's what I said.
Fucking close. Worst offensive start. League wide. Oh, league wide. Yes. 100%. I thought you were talking about the Jays for a second because I was about to be like, just in here confirming Tony and his information as he comes out here, hammers over the top.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it has been a bad offensive start league wide, and the Jays have looked, I guess, relatively good, comparatively good. Ramel Tapia's out here hitting fucking moonshots.
You guys notice after every one of his at-bats that he gets out, he's just cussing himself
He's
out.
So upset. Dude, not even just his at-bats. Like, when he swings outside the zone, he starts cussing. It's, like, anything. When he does anything that's not perfect, it's absolutely... It's
so funny to watch. It's become my favorite thing to see. It's just him, like, swinging at a terrible pitch. Like, he swings at some horrible pitches and looks like really uncompetitive. But he'll just be so mad at himself, and it's kind of refreshing to see someone just like completely lose their mind after every friggin' pitch.
Something, actually, speaking of Tapia, something I've been talking about with a couple of my buddies. The whole talk, so he was a slap singles hitter. He doesn't strike out a lot, yada, yada, yada. That's what Ramel Tapia was. He struck out a bit here, and I don't know about you guys, but I've been talking about this with other friends of mine and telling them to try to pay attention to this. Have you noticed he doesn't swing like a slap singles hitter? A lot of these swings are like full swing, like he's trying to hammer the baseball. So I don't know if the Jays are working on something a little different with him.
It seemed like early on he was doing a lot of slap single kind of swings, like his first few games.
Yeah, and that's the guy he is. Yeah, and like that's the guy he is. So I know we were joking around. I was joking around with you guys how like he doesn't hit a lot of home runs, and then when he does, it's like a 490-foot bomb off of one of the league's best pitchers. So I don't know. Maybe the Blue Jays are just like, maybe do that more. We'll see if it works out because it hasn't been a great start for him. He's heating up a little bit, but it hasn't been great for him. But something I noticed, I just kind of wanted to throw out there, keep an eye on, and just
Well, he's already cemented above Biggio. I remember we talked last week about getting Biggio more time there. The more I see it, the more I'm just saying, all right. I don't know if it matters too much until Teoscar comes back because it should be back soon. But Biggio's really not making much of an effort to take that spot over, and Tapia is doing enough at least to just hang on to that backup fourth outfielder role and not have much competition from him.
Their on base percentage is almost the same.
That Biggio just won it this season.
And they still have the same on base percentage.
Because one of them walks and the other one slaps singles around. Well, was supposed to slap singles around, but is hitting the ball a lot harder, I think, anyways.
Yeah, it's all about slugging.
Which
is we take Tapia for the slugging.
If you're hitting the ball hard, like that's way more valuable than walking and getting out every other time.
Yeah.
Were you talking about Joey Gallo kind of there?
I'm just saying, on base percentage is an important skill to have. So.
Well, Bradley Zimmer hit his first dinger too. Like that was hilarious watching. It was Zimmer and Espinal that hit back-to-back dingers off of Justin Verlander in a game where Ross Stripling started, and you pull that like. If there was anything to show how polar opposite this season has started compared to last season, it's that game. Ross Stripling versus Justin Verlander in Houston, and Bradley Zimmer, Santiago Espinal, and they win the game.
I gotta stop you there.
Talk about Vladdy's speed.
Stripling's been good for like most parts of his last 2 years. Like basically all of it, he's been pretty good. This is the Stripling we get now. I've been trying to say this. He's just like reliable.
He just yelled at Joe Panic and became a good pitcher.
Yeah, that's what happened. I think he's better than Ryu right now, and I'm more comfortable with him on the starting rotation.
Yeah,
actually, Ryu's got to be back soon because they only said like 2-3 turns. Well, they said 2-3 turns, and then we haven't.
To this Stripling guy,
we'll see.
That's the problem now.
We'll see.
Espinal did not help his case on he might be on something because he's hitting home runs now. Because before it was like, oh, he's starting to break out a bit. Like he has a little bit of acne.
That was me. I started joking around about the acne, and you were the one who was just like, hey man, when you lift, that happens. And then now he's out here, he put on like 15, 20 pounds of muscle. He's got the acne. Theo's right. Trick and strip has been nails. Yeah, he's been real good this year. I don't know how much I want to trust that for an entire season because we did see him last year start the season at like in a not in a similar situation because the entire rotation was kind of falling apart and Stripling. It was basically Stripling and Ryu early last year. They were like the only guys you could count on until they called up Manoah, which Alek Manoah, boys.
We just finished this Espinal thought though.
Yes, let's go back to Espinal. I don't think he's actually. I hope he's not on anything. I really hope this isn't a Colabello thing.
It was just like as he got bigger, and Steve's like, "Are you guys nervous? The guy's breaking out a bunch of acne, and he's just way bigger now, and he's hitting the ball." It's like, well, he hasn't really been hitting it for like.
You know what? Until he gets caught, then he's innocent in my eyes.
People forget how good that Chris Colabello. That was fun. He was just
He was great. I think what he hit like 330. He only played like half the season, but he hit like 330 that year. It was insane.
But this is like different. This is like hard contact, big power,
elite defense.
With Colabello, it was more like he had a really high average.
Yeah, and hit some doubles with a couple of homers. Yeah, it's a different type of player. Like Espinal was basically like a singles hitter with speed and defense, who's now turned into a guy who can potentially do everything, which is very interesting to me. I also like him down at the bottom of the order. Like I know they were messing around and moving him up when he was getting hot. It didn't seem to go that well. I like him at the bottom of the order to kind of flip everything over for Springer, Bichette, and Vladdy. Like I like him there. I kind of like that as his role. It is wild how Cavan Biggio, like it started out looking like this was going to be a platoon. And that lasted.
It took 2 hours.
It was like he hit the first that first was it the big single or a big double in the Texas game. Yeah. And then the next game he came out and did it again. And it was basically just like the platoon is over. This is Santiago Espinal's job now.
Yeah. I saw it right away. He's a different guy now.
Tony's
go back and watch the live stream. Anthony nailed it. Like, I'll give you credit there because I was a little bit like you're being way too pessimistic. It's been an hour in the season, and you're like, no, it's done. He lost the competition already.
Well, that was
every possession there.
Yeah, me and Theo were like, calm down, Tony. In case you don't know, Biggio was Tony's guy for this bet we have going on during the season, and he was very distraught early on, and me and Theo were trying to calm him down.
I'm going to negotiate a buy with you, Anthony.
Tony was right.
About it after the show. We'll negotiate something because this is getting sad.
It's over. He won already.
I know.
There's
That's
nothing to negotiate.
We can negotiate just to give you a
negotiate. I lost. Right. I'm a good sport. I'm not trying to weasel my way back in.
We're only like 15 games into the season. We got time.
Even though, like, I'm sticking with Biggio. Biggio turns it around, then okay. But
you got to start rocking your Kevin Biggio jersey at all times now. Well, you got to will this into existence, like Theo with the.
I'm probably gonna wear it when I go. So when I see Boston, I'll probably wear it. I don't know. Do you want to see me wear it on the weekend?
You should definitely wear it.
I want to see you wear it to when he's playing in Buffalo. We count his stats. His Buffalo stats can count. That'd be fun, actually. If we had like Biggio,
we should go to a Buffalo game. We should drive down to a Buffalo game for one weekend.
that seems like when the Jays were not in town, a good idea. Now it's like,
it was.
July, I'm not going to want to not watch it.
No, it was also one of those things where it was like the Jays were really bad, and it's like you want to go down and watch Vladdy. Exactly. That was the reason. That was like when I went to go watch him in Buffalo. The Jays sucked. That was like the Socrates Brito, Allen Hansen year. So it was like, screw this. I'm going to Buffalo.
Now, and
that's why I brought it up. If you guys wanted to go down and see Moreno at any point before he gets called up. Yeah, it's true. He's killing it. Like he's been on fire since
it'll be this year.
Oh, 100%.
That's okay.
Okay. So we'll stay in Canada.
I want to talk a bit about Alex. We talked a lot about Collins last week, and I wanted to ask you, what do you think of his usage and how he relates to this? Because now we have a log jam.
Zach Collins, right?
Zach Collins. Hey, I said Alex Collins again, didn't I?
Yeah.
I've been confusing with that old running back for the Ravens.
I know. Oh, I know. He's a bad catcher. Like watching him try to like frame a strike at the bottom of the zone it's pain because you don't get that strike. And it's funny, Kirk doesn't block balls really well, but he's a great receiver. Like he actually gets those called strikes at the bottom of the zone. And it's funny watching the difference where I'm like, oh man, I'd rather have Kirk back there. And then instantly in my brain, I'm like, whoa. Like, whoa, that's a problem.
Drop off from Danny for sure. Danny has really cemented his role as a defensive catcher on this team for years.
Yeah. Because that's like, I think Zach Collins goes down, Danny comes back, or Moreno. Like, I think the only way they have three catchers is because Kirk's the DH, and it's Danny and Moreno being the actual catchers. And then Kirk's around in case you do some kind of like double switch and you need a guy to catch because like you've used both your catchers, or Kirk was the DH. Like, in case you have to do something weird. But yeah, like I can't see Collins winning over those guys. We were talking about how hot he was, and
start this week even like hit that home run against Boston.
Yep.
Yeah, this isn't Reese McGuire hot where he's hitting a lot of singles. He's hitting for power.
Yeah, well, I like that bat. I don't know how the roster construction is going to work, especially when they went out and got Zimmer too. Right? Collins has the option, so I think he's the one to go because you also have all the catchers. But it's a really nice option to have because if you lose a bench bat, you can just call one up. Although I would rather him play in like first base, not catcher. But would you be comfortable with Collins, Jansen if you need to move Kirk pre-Moreno? Yes, because Danny's going to be doing all the catching, and Collins is only going to be stepping in once in a while. And then at that point, Collins becomes a real bench bat. Like because essentially, if you move Kirk, Collins goes into the Kirk role where he's the DH / a bench bat. Like I'm actually super comfortable with that. If you had to move Kirk, you know what's interesting? Did you guys see the Athletic? Like, just I guess because Chris brings up trading Kirk. Did you guys see the Athletic article about the Jays potentially trading for Frankie Montas? About how that made sense?
No.
Wait. I didn't see it at all.
I saw it yesterday. I got to read it. It popped up. It was like the A's are going to trade their last like asset and then starter Frankie Montas. Why Toronto makes a lot of sense. I got to read that article because I saw that last night.
Why would Oakland need a catcher?
It's Oakland.
Did they say for Kirk or did they say like
No. It's just it was something I popped up, and when Chris threw that into the chat, I kind of thought, I wonder if that would be part of the thing. I mean, because I don't see Kirk being a long-term catcher for them.
If you can keep inventing bats out of like your minor league system, if you keep finding guys like Collins, and if Moreno comes up, if Martinez comes up, and they start killing it, and you could just keep adding the rotation, like maybe. It's not a crazy thought. Yeah. If like Kikuchi's having problems, or if Ryu can't come back to the rotation, that wouldn't make that would be the craziest thing.
Well, and it also kind of has me thinking, they have Sean Murphy, who's a Gold Glove catcher, right? You could have Kirk as the guy that gives him a day off, but DHs. You really could do that if you're Oakland.
Well, the thing is, they could trade Sean Murphy,
but he's like he has so much service time. Like they have so much control left. Because he played like a year and a half. Like I don't even think he has 2 years of service, right? So they still have him for 3.5, 4 years. But it's Oakland, so they might trade him.
Because they did get Soderstrom from Atlanta.
But I don't know if they actually view him as a catcher or if that's going to be one of those things where he ends up as an outfielder because they want his bat in the lineup. Kind of like Kirk, which is the funny thing where they just want his bat in the lineup every single day. Then again, Tyler Stevenson before the concussion, like that was kind of like Soder, like they kind of had a similar offensive catcher profile that weren't great defensive catchers. And Soderstrom before the concussion had been great. So who knows? Maybe, or not Stevenson. Now I'm going to confuse those two names because they're so damn similar. Tyler Stevenson plays for Cincinnati. Tyler Soderstrom plays for Oakland.
Yeah. I mean, if Montas wants to come be our fourth starter, basically, that would be.
I'd be so fucking happy with Frankie Montas.
I think someone actually last week said in our chat like we should trade for him, and he might end up being right. We've been putting the thumb to this Ramirez stuff and all these trades that didn't happen, but that one actually maybe that does happen, and we just become a Mets style rotation. But
I'm the negative person on every trade rumor that could happen. I just I don't know. I just don't.
You're the negative person on anything that ever happens.
Yeah,
Tony's trying to provide the other point of view. We appreciate that.
But you actually think this is possible?
I don't know. We'll see.
Well, considering that it sounded like it was going to be Andrew Vaughn for Frankie Montas, like as much as I love Kirk, he's never had the type of cachet that Vaughn has. So,
but will the price drop? Like they still have another year of control after this, right?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it might not drop that much by the deadline, and he's pitching very well, so that's not going to help it drop. And we also don't really need our rotation. Like we should talk a bit about it.
Kikuchi was great. Like that last Kikuchi would cost us Tiedemann, Kirk, and 2 B tier guys. Ricky Tiedemann has had a hell of a start to the season. Like he's a lefty. I don't know if you boys know him. He's a hell of a lefty pitcher they got. I think they got him in like the 3rd or 4th round. But he's basically just like he's going 5 inning starts, but he's K'ing like 10 or 12 people every start. He's ridiculous.
Okay.
Where is he in our system? He's our 6th guy. I just took a look right now.
Tiedemann, yeah, he's a top. He's a highly rated prospect.
I mean, that fits Oakland's kind of way. Like it's a couple years from being major league ready. That's actually a good suggestion.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? Like Moreno or not Moreno, or Elvis is a guy they're not touching. Or Elvis is kind of struggling a little bit now after hitting all those dingers. He's striking out a lot at Double-A, but that's I think just more of a. We all probably should have pumped the brakes on seeing him because I started getting excited, like, holy shit, in spring training, like maybe this is a Kirk situation. Maybe we see or Elvis at some point this year. And, now it's starting to kind of even out and you're like, oh, maybe we pumped the brakes on that. Plus, San Diego Espinal.
Yeah. And also he didn't have Moreno there overshadowing him during the spring. And I don't want to bring a guy up until like the middle of summer when everyone's starting to hit again. Because even the rest of the league, like look at all the young kids around the league struggling. Like I think like the weather early season has something to do with that. And
exactly.
I don't want to bring a guy up here for no reason and have not play every day and be struggling.
You want it to be warm.
Playing that? That the ball's deadened?
Nah, I just think it's cold. Like this, we see this shit at the beginning of every year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And everyone has a dome.
Yeah, and like generally you have the pitchers that are a little bit ahead of the hitters. But then they had to shorten spring training, so all of the pitchers are going like 4 or 5 innings for the first week or two. Like, then you have the bullpens too, where you have this extended this extended, like it's a 28-man roster. So they got extra arms in the bullpen. It's been hard to hit. It's been like playoff baseball where you can use a million pitchers. So when everything starts to even out, I think that's going to, I actually think that's going to play a big role is when everything starts to even out and we get down to a 26-man roster and everyone doesn't have 10 or 11 bullpen arms they can just lean on. And you have to let your starters actually go a little deeper and you can't just pull them. Plus they're stretched out, so they don't need to be pulled in the third or fourth inning when they get to 80 pitches. I think it's just baseball. You know what I mean? We're early season, 162 games. Like just it's all the weird shit that happens in baseball is currently happening in baseball, basically. So.
I know you're just saying all this stuff. I'm back in on Barucki being our guy.
That one appearance yesterday?
Yeah, he was leverage. It was great against Houston.
Fucking nails.
Unbelievable. That guy's imagine you could get him and Meza. You don't have to just put Meza out for every lefty opportunity.
Well, they were talking about Arden Zwelling was talking about it at the game. Like Barucki was never a dude that had problem throwing strikes. And then he goes to the bullpen, he gets this crazy jump in his velo, and he can't throw strikes. So if he can throw strikes because of that jump in the velo, because that cutter slider thing he throws is great now out of the pen. I said an outside line, but some pitcher from a quick glance seems to be very high. See, I expended bullpen. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I thought. Is you have this massive amount of bullpen arms. What was I talking about? Oh, Barucki. Before I got sidetracked trying to read the comment. He's got the stuff to be a really good reliever. Like when he's throwing 95 to 97, when he throws that cutter that's in the high 80s, sometimes low 90s, his changeup was always really good when he was a starter. Like there's 3 pitches. He doesn't have to throw that curveball thing, that weird slurvy thing that he used to throw as a starter to try and, go through a lineup 3 times. Just please stay healthy and throw strikes because Ryan Barucki could be useful. He really could. And to have that second lefty so that it's not always Tim Meza or doing the reverse splits thing with Trevor Richards.
And so you don't have to trade for a fucking Brad Hand in July. Like you don't have to do one of those deals.
That Brad Hand trade after the sticky stuff. Didn't he start the year with like 3 saves? Huh?
Isn't he the Phillies closer this year?
Yeah. And didn't he start the year with like 3 straight saves? Like didn't something stupid like that happen where he actually looked good? Yeah.
He's probably great now just because it's how it works in baseball.
I don't think he is. I don't think he's doing great.
I'm going to pull this up, actually.
Of course the Phillies would sign him. They don't know what they're doing when it comes to their bullpen.
They don't care about defense. They're the Phillies.
But they have like Alvarado and him back there, right?
Yeah, I was going to say Alvarado's probably their big guy.
Oh, okay. I thought Hand was. I swear
Hand's got 1 save. He's got an ERA of 0, though, in 6 appearances. And a Ks per 9 of 12.27. So he looks like he literally looks like he's all the way back.
If he did that when he was traded here, we're in the playoffs. We're having a different conversation.
Fucking nice, yeah.
We have a World Series ring right now. If Brad Hand does that last year.
Fucking Brad Hand. I don't even want to think about that.
I want to talk
here. Would you say what?
Go ahead. You were still talking about. You're talking about Barucki still?
I was actually going to try to move to the bullpen in general based on Barucki.
Yeah.
Is that where you were going?
Yeah, I was going to say I was telling you guys looking at some odds, Cy Young odds, and I was absolutely shocked to see Jordan Romano 10-1 right now.
It's the save streak. It's the save streak.
I don't understand that.
It's people remember Eric Gagne's save streak. I honestly, I'm not joking. I think it's because he's a Canadian like Gagne was, and people are remembering the streak that Gagne got on that won him the Cy Young. And no one's done anything to start the season where you're like, that's the Cy Young. That's the guy, right? Well, he's the guy who's done the thing where everyone's paying attention.
How many votes did Britton get that year?
He got a couple, but not that many.
Like, because if he didn't win, then who would?
He had one of the greatest relief seasons ever that year.
Like in this era, I don't
baseball's
think
changed though. Like because starters are throwing less innings now though. Even to Britton's era, I know what you're saying. Because I was thinking the exact same thing. It's like, well, Britton did so much, but then you also think like starters aren't going as deep anymore, and I don't know if there's more value now on the market of like voters.
I don't think he's gonna win Cy Young. I just think like to me the most interesting thing was there was a couple of articles that came out about his drop in velocity and how he wasn't getting swing and miss on his slider anymore. And you kind of saw it because he was getting those saves the last few the last few saves where you've seen it not be at 99, it be 95, 96, and guys getting on base, like hitting singles. And then a couple of it wasn't Romano yesterday, but a couple of like liners right at people like Vladdy.
This is disgusting right now what I'm seeing on Anthony's screen.
Oh yeah, Tony's just out here. Allergy season, Tony? Is she kicking in?
Yeah, I'm very sick.
Oh, you're sick? Or are you allergy season?
I have a cold.
Oh, Tony's fighting through. He's the only member of the pod not to have COVID and not have to do one of these recordings during COVID.
I'm pretty sure
to have it. So,
I'm pretty sure I had it, but I never got tested for it. This is different. This is just I tested negative for it. I don't have COVID. It's just,
okay. It's your flu game. Just fighting through.
Yeah.
He ate some bad pizza last night, but he's fighting through.
No, it's not the food. That's for sure.
Romano.
But yeah, Romano's been like, so even with that, there was some worry, even though he's racking these saves up, and then he, then he puts the one together, that first one against Houston, where he's pumping 99 again. And you're like, oh, he's back. He's fine. Oh yeah, Chris understands. It's like, I'm cold.
I'm not dedicated to this show.
You better be good for this weekend. We got a UJ series we're going to.
Yeah. I'll be fine.
I'm trying to decide, do I wear the Houston cheated Roto Wear shirt or do I not? Because I want to wear it, but at the same time, like George Springer is a Blue Jay, so it's
old
like
news. That's
I don't care about Houston cheating anymore.
Yeah. Probably move away from it. Maybe I'll wear the Vladdy.
Good players.
Yeah. Well, and again, there's the whole like George Springer being a Blue Jay part.
Yeah, and he was the biggest culprit of cheating. He used it the most. So.
I mean, I don't know. The best, actually, on a positive note, let's get away from that. The fucking leadoff dinger for George yesterday was awesome.
Another one.
That was pretty great. It's pretty great. Oppo, like, no doubt, too. Actually, no, I want to loop back to the bullpen. So Romano's great. Yimi Garcia has been better than we could have imagined. Like, we knew Yimi was probably going to be a pretty good reliever. He got a 2-year deal. He's been fucking nails. Simber's been exactly what he's been since the Jays traded for him. Like, he's good against both sides. He's just elite now, even though he throws 88. Like, you just have this list of dudes like Phelps, nails. Meza, nails.
He's an underrated guy in that pen because he comes out in those situations where you need him to like get out of it.
He's the fireman. There's guys on base. It's the fifth inning. There's one out, or the fourth inning. There's 2 outs, and you need a guy to like finish the inning and go the next inning. Phelps has been unbelievable. Like, they have guys, like a bunch of guys you rely on. Stripling can go back into that bullpen. Trent Thornton's been good, even though we were making fun of Trent Thornton this year. Like,
ever since he took that picture, that ridiculous picture before opening day, he's been amazing.
But it's just like the bullpen's been nails, man. Everyone's been good. And then again, Trevor Richards, who gives me a heart attack. Like, those are deep fly balls. They're outs. They're deep fly balls. But if he's the only guy you really got to worry about, I mean, this bullpen, it's last year it was nails at the beginning, then everyone got hurt and it sucked. And Chatwood could throw a strike.
I look back at our channel and I think I titled our second episode last year like best bullpen in baseball or something stupid because it was like, holy shit, Merriweather's amazing and Romano and everything was working.
Yeah.
But
well,
like,
Merriweather even
because you don't have as many guys like Dolis or guys who are going to fall apart. Like these guys have been more proven.
And well, the interesting thing too is even Merriweather. The last podcast we did, I was talking about his spin rate, his velo dropping, everything dropping since the sticky stuff ban. He's looked good since I said that. Like, in his appearances, he's come in, he's just been pumping heat, and the fastball looks like it's a little livelier. I know it's still 97, but it feels maybe the spin rate's back up on it, but it feels like it's kind of exploding out of his hand again. Like it looks like.
Oh no,
looks good. He looks really good.
Yeah, one other thing
like
too,
it's got some heat. It's look.
It's always fun.
If might be time to kill the soccer in the background on DAZN as we all start freezing.
It's not my fault. No one's freezing on my end.
Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe it's me because I've seen Tony freeze, but I can still hear him.
I'll turn it off.
And then I just froze.
We should be good now. But yeah, we're all saying. I think I told you guys like they've been kind of using Merriweather in those lower leverage spots to try to get him back right.
Yeah.
And it seems to have been working.
And you got Pearson, who's still on the come. Like, he's throwing bullpens and he's getting ready. He's going to be stretched out. A lot of positives for the pitching staff, even though last week we were starting to really panic. Can we just focus on what Yusei Kikuchi did in Boston? Like, I know this was a while ago now, and I know he's pitching today. So he's pitching later today. The beginning of that game looked like the Yankees game, and I'm pretty sure all three of us were screaming at the TV. And then it seemed like he finally just kind of went, all right, fuck it. I'm going to throw the fastball.
It was the first two hitters. It was like he's dancing around these guys, and then
throwing
even
cutters.
Bauer's like, why is he not just throwing a fastball? He could have a good fastball, just throw it. And it was as simple a fix as possible. Like it was opposite with Barrios, because Barrios, they were like teeing up on everything early in the game.
Yeah.
Like early in counts.
And they were guessing, like whatever he was throwing, they were on. So if he was throwing first pitch fastball, they were on. If he was throwing first pitch curveball slider, whatever his off-speed pitches, they were on it. And then he like got it to like the Barrios start. The only thing I want to say about that is like watching him battle like that was very encouraging, because you're like, okay, here's a dude that's early in the season. He still fully hasn't found it, but you needed that start out of him and you got it. Like he battled through that game. And if it's not for the bow fucking toss, it's pretty bad. Looks like you need some PC maintenance, Steve-O. Well, yeah, you built my PC, so you can come maintain it. You are more than welcome to come to my house and maintain my PC, Chris. Please. Fault.
I got blamed.
Actually, I need... Hey, Chris, if you're watching, bring the O2 canister, because you got to spray the dust out of my PC. What was I talking about, though, before I got to that? Yusuke Kikuchi.
Barrios needing Barrios. That start.
Yeah, like that was necessary. And then just to see lefties in Boston are never... Because of the monster, it's just not a great place for them. And to see him decide he was just going to pump that fastball and look like the Kikuchi that was really good in the first half with Seattle, like actually make the like make adjustments and pitch differently, that was intriguing because he did it against a good team. Because remember Matz last year, who then by the end of the year was pretty fucking nails. He had those good starts against bad teams. Then he struggled. It was the Rangers. Who else? It was the Orioles. Like he played some terrible teams, and then he played some good teams. Struggled, went on the IL, and came back, and then was nails. Right? Kikuchi's making these changes. We talked about it. He wasn't here in spring. Like he didn't get the chance to for Pete Walker to really get his hands on him and change him. But you started to see him make adjustments, and then also Kevin Gausman.
Yeah.
Jesus, man.
How do we wait this long without talking about Kevin Gausman?
Yeah, like that.
I thought that
start. He should have been that should have been a complete game. And the fact that they get a hit and you pull him instantly, and it was just like, dude, the way he's throwing that splitter, the next pitch could have been a double play. Like, just leave him.
You put Romano on in the stretch. I hate doing that. You need to give him like 2-3 guys at least.
Put him on to start the ninth, or let your starter work out of it. Yeah, that's the way I look at it. When you told
2-run cushion, 3-run cushion, whatever.
And when you told Gausman that it was his game, and then after the first batter you pull him, did you also hear him in that interview? He didn't say anything, but you could tell he was not happy.
He was pissed at the offense. He's like, yeah, maybe if we got a few more runs, I'd be out there still. Like he said it like nicely, but you could tell he's like, I should have had that game. And
no, exactly. He knew he should have finished that game. And I actually like to see that too. I want a pitcher that wants to finish a game, that doesn't want to just be like, get me out of there.
Who's like staring daggers at the manager and gonna kill him if he like takes him out. Yeah. Like, that's what you need.
I just would like to point out exactly like that's the best version of Kevin Gausman. He hasn't walked a batter yet as a Blue Jay. Like, if you go look at his numbers, they're fucking hilarious. This is the dude I watched in San Fran that I kept joking around about. I'm like, well, Robbie Ray's great, but like, I kind of want Kevin Gausman now. Now you see. Now you see. And he doesn't normally throw like I don't remember him throwing the slider as much as he did in like the last two starts, like the Yankee start and this Boston start. And holy shit, does that thing look good? Like, it's gross. And he's got the splitter, the changeup, and he throws in the high 90s, mid 90s, high in the zone. Like, that was another thing against Boston. You finally saw that high fastball working, and then you saw how gross the splitter is working off of it. Like, left-handed batters were just like
the only issue he's had this year was leaking that fastball up to Texas.
Yeah,
and they were able to just tee on him for a couple innings, but every other game has just been like, they can't touch him. They just don't know what's coming. They can't get a beat on it. And I thought that's repeatable too. Like, Ray was great because he was similar, like where it was like 2 pitches where he's able to dominate. But now Gausman has this third one where it's just like, holy shit, you don't know what he's gonna do, and they're also dominant.
Yeah, and it's like this rotation, man. And again, we talked about it at the end of last year when they upgraded the rotation. You start to get the competition, And it's like with the hitters, when everyone gets hot, like you don't want to be the guy that's cold. Like that's what ends up happening with the pitchers. It builds that competition where you don't want to be the one that sucked. You want to go out and shove like the guy who before you did it. And like we've gone through the whole rotation, but yeah, Alek Manoah, like you can't say enough about this guy. He couldn't, like yesterday's game, he was battling early on, gives up the 2-run dinger to Bregman because he just left one right over way too much of the plate. But it's fine. Goes 6 innings, gets it together. Those are the only runs he allowed. Like,
yeah, he's
holy shit, man.
He's become a veteran already. He's like a guy you rely on, and you expect these things every time.
He's doing all the things we thought Nate Pearson was going to do. He doesn't throw as hard, but he's out there giving you length, giving you opportunities to win, never giving up and battling through. Like he's ridiculous. He's absolutely ridiculous.
Also, we missed something with Kikuchi that I wanted to bring up. Him defensively is as good as
man. Yo, that was. Thank you for bringing that up. He made some unbelievable plays. There was the one that he slid on, tried to barehand, didn't get. Yeah, he didn't get it, and that's generally when you see a pitcher completely panic and chuck it into the 15th row. You see infielders do that, where they chuck it into the 15th row when they drop it. Nope, calm, collected, picked it up, throws a strike to first base. Like. God, just the defense in general on this team is so much better.
It's made,
and I know Bo made those 2 errors, but other than that, like how many great plays has he made this year?
The only problem so far, like we've had a couple real mistakes, but Chapman has been like we had a little bit of a slow start defensively where he was bobbling the ball. He's been nails the last couple games, especially. And
even the error, yes, I think they called it an infield single, the one where he like airmailed Vladdy. For him to get to that ball to be able to throw it to first was insane.
I don't think that was an error because I think it was.
I think they called it an infield single.
That wasn't.
No, that's what I mean. I'm pretty sure they called it an infield single because Vladdy stopped it from hitting the back wall. Like he came off the bag, stopped it so that it wasn't an extra base. Vladdy's been great around first, but we talked about this last year, but he's been even better around the bag this year. Making
over the
really nice plays.
Been crazy good.
Yeah, like
he just he doesn't make mistakes doing that.
He's so comfortable there. And early in the season, like he's also bailed Chapman and Bo out from a couple of errors. Like he's made some really nice plays. The defense in general on the infield is so different.
No, they won us that game in Boston. Look at the difference in the Boston game. The game 3 was Boston couldn't catch a pop up, and we were making every defensive play on the infield. Like that was the difference.
Pitching and defense. Right? Everyone talks about pitching and defense. Now it helps when your offense fucking is like when this Jays offense is healthy, it's going to be hilarious. But the fact that you have the pitching and the defense is great. Also, George Springer is clearly healthy because he hit that dinger. We mentioned the dinger, but I was getting very upset that they were pinch hitting him.
You're waiting to IL him.
It was like, no, I didn't want him IL'd. I was stop using him. Let him get healthy. And then he's DHing yesterday. I'm like, why is he not starting in center field? Leadoff dinger. And it's like, okay, he's fine. It's fine. I take it all back.
Well, this is what happened last year, too.
Well, that was why I was getting so angry because I didn't want to see him go on the IL.
I know. That's why you have a reason to be concerned.
Yeah. It's like we saw this last year.
But how much worse is he going to make his injury?
And we've seen him hurt and tell people that he's good to go and then hurt himself worse. We've seen it.
Yeah.
It has happened. It's not good.
I know it's still very early in the year. You shouldn't be.
This was a bruising issue. This wasn't like a knee problem. Like he got hit in the arm, and they
last year's injury was a lot worse.
Yeah. But also, did you see the swings he took when they
he always does that. He's always doing that.
I know, but does that give you any sort of confidence that he's not going to go on the IL for the next 6 years when he swings like that?
I'd rather him not do that, to be honest.
Same. That was why I was so passionate about not playing him.
You should never, as a young man, need your bat to help you get back up after swinging at a pitch. That's a
problem. That's a problem. When you got to use it as a cane, it's a problem. It's a big problem. Was there anything else we needed to get to? Who's it today? It's Kikuchi versus
Luis Garcia.
That's going to be.
I'm going to say right now, this game will be a blowout one way or the other. Because every other game in this season basically has been close for the Jays. This will be the one game we either win 10-1 or lose 10-1. I don't know which one, but it's going to go one way or the other.
Houston isn't hitting right now.
That's my thing. I think today's one of the days where one of the offenses is going to wake up on one team. and go crazy.
Houston is a dangerous team against left-handed bats, though. One, Yordan Alvarez is dangerous against everyone because he's Yordan Alvarez. But Bregman, Gurriel, like some of those guys against lefties are pretty scary. Altuve. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm going to be very interested to see if we get. I hope we get the Kikuchi that ended. George is the guy that always looks hurt when healthy too. Yeah, no, that's exactly part of the reason I was so upset because he always looks like he's hurt. But yeah, this is a big one for Kikuchi to see if we get Boston Kikuchi again. Pitching against a good team in their ballpark like Boston that hits lefties well. So it's actually hilariously similar because you have the monster in the Crawford box and all of that shit, like the short left field. So
and both
huge start for
aren't
Kikuchi
hitting right now. Boston's not, and Houston isn't either.
Exactly. They have established stars and they just haven't really rounded into form yet. So it's going to be interesting.
Did you want to talk about the Yankee thing?
I was going to just more so do it that they're like trash and we shouldn't be surprised that Yankees fans are trash. Like and the thing with Yankees fans, it's like Leafs fans where there are like people that know generally like what it's like they're not insane and douchebags and like 27 rings, bro. But I mean, that was the most 27 rings, bro experience ever. Also, Miles Straw climbing the fence to like give it back to them and fucking Mercado catching those beer cans. I thought he was going to fire one back into the crowd. And you could tell there was a couple times where he would catch the can, where he'd kind of cock back like he was going to throw it back into the crowd. And I know they would have suspended him for probably the rest of his life.
For a long time, yeah.
But how great would it have been to watch an outfielder who's got a cannon catch a beer can thrown at him and then nail a dude right in the face with it?
I mean, Malice of the Palace is one of the best like clips ever.
Yeah.
And this would have been like close. Well, not close. That one was such a great clip, but that would have been pretty
Listen,
close.
in New York, if you go into the stands, I got a feeling it's going to have a very, very similar vibe to Detroit. Like, I feel like it would get wild very quickly.
Yeah, they're right behind. They're only a game behind the Jays. So
they've been playing horrible.
The bleacher creatures.
Shit. Gallo's been the worst player in baseball so far.
Well, this is what he is. He'll go through these really bad.
Nestor Cortez is their ace. It's not Garrett Cole.
I've been saying,
and then he'll hit like 15 home runs in 7 games.
Average pitcher since what? Since July last year. Since the sticky ban.
Since they wouldn't let him use a spider tack.
Yeah.
But don't worry, you paid him what, $350 million? That's fine.
Did you see the radio? I forget what team it was that had like they were talking about the Cole start, and they're like, "Wow, there was this promotion tonight that if Cole got to the second inning or got through the second inning, the kids would get like a charity or something from Cole, or they'd all get like iPads." And like it was just a fake story.
That was the one against Detroit, where he went 1 2/3 and walked 5 guys.
Like, wait, they're like on the air doing a baseball game. Like, did you guys hear this? Like, wow, oh my god, these kids are gonna get their supplies because Garrett Cole stinks.
That's actually amazing.
Which is hilarious.
That's amazing. Oh man,
2 innings specifically.
Because he's afraid of the Detroit Tigers.
I don't like.
Why would you say 2
tonight.
innings?
Yeah.
No, I love how that shit, like when it gets going, it reminds me actually of like the Freddie Freeman to the Jays stuff where Carlos Barrega or whatever the fuck that guy's name was tweeting out Instagrams with flames and shit because it's official.
The flames are what made it work. Because if there was no flames, you would just think he's a crazy person.
Yeah, the flames.
Like, this could be something.
Those are official. Hot fire. Anything else you boys want to get to? Because there's the game today.
Yeah, Anthony's dying over there.
We'll let Tony rest up.
If you're listening on podcast and you're wondering what the hell's the dying man doing in the background, it's Anthony just he's hustling through this.
He's trying to cover his mic. He's trying to do all the things. It's his flu game. He's out here.
You're not covering it all. You've not covered one cough.
When you grab it and pull it, it doesn't do shit. It's actually
like louder. I don't know.
You got to mute it. The funny thing is, I've seen you mute it a couple of times because I've seen the mute thing pop up.
I only muted it when I blew my nose. I didn't mute it any other time. So if I was muting it every time I coughed, I would definitely.
You know, like what Wilner used to do when he coughed? He used to mute his mic every time. You never heard a cough out of that guy. He was a professional, Anthony. You could learn a thing or two.
My good friend, Mike Wilner.
All right. So next week we'll be at the game. The boys are going to one of the Houston series, so we'll report back in. Yeah, anything else you guys want to talk about before we wrap this one up? Get Theo off to his Orthodox Easter. Start getting ready for this Jays game today.
No.
Nothing.
All right. Well, Tony, you can rest and recover. Theo, you can go gorge yourself on lamb and delicious, delicious Greek foods. But that's it. That's been Toronto on Tilt. I'm Steve, here with Theo and Tony. Like I said, as always, find us at our Twitter, at Toronto on Tilt. We're live on Twitch, where we do these streams. So go to Twitch, check out Toronto. Y'all coming to ball... You mean ball game, Z?
Bow game. The bow.
Oh, the Bow Flow bobblehead thing on Friday?
We're going Saturday.
Z, if you're going Friday, maybe I'll go with you. Maybe I'll do both. Maybe I'll go get a bobblehead. Text me. If you're going, I'm dead serious. I'll probably go Friday and Saturday.
Do you guys know I have that Lourdes bobblehead? That one with.
Do you have the Pina Power one? The pineapple head one? Yeah, I did not know.
I don't know how I never told you guys.
Chris.
Well, you hate him so much. I assume you should
just bring him, and that bobblehead should just like appear beside you for the rest of our recordings. You should just bring him around.
Yeah, it's somewhere in my collecting dust in my house, but I have.
Of course, you have him. Like Chris and Theo are like the two biggest girl fans I think in the world.
I mean, kids doing pretty good right now.
Oh yeah. Well,
Looking
Chris
really
is in that the spreadsheet fantasy baseball league I talk about. He owns Lourdes in that. My very first year in that league, I told him to draft Lourdes.
So. Yeah, he's on the best contract in baseball. You can't hate that guy. Everything he does plus.
But yeah, like I was saying before, follow us on Twitch. Obviously, this video, we're live on YouTube. Check that shit out. Follow us, Toronto on Tilt. Like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends. And, of course, the audio for this I will post. The video will also be on Spotify, but the audio will be everywhere else. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Breaker, Bleaker, all the things. Like, comment, subscribe, and tell your friends. Blue Jays are just the best team in the American League. Just the way it is. It's just facts.
It's a fact.